Hey everybody, welcome to Cupboard Creations. My name's Gareth and this is my little corner of the internet for playing with my food. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. This is a recipe, but it's also not a recipe. I just want to kind of get out there these ideas floating in my head and what I managed to do with them and see if it kind of sparks any inspiration for everyone else out there. And I was thinking, it was kind of Christmas, I was making some stuff, we had a whole big family Christmas, and then me and my wife came home and we kind of wanted to extend that a little bit. So we decided, get yourself a ham. It's one of the typical great things about Christmas. And then made it delicious. After that, I'm looking around, I'm thinking, I'm buying sandwich ham all the time. I do love a good old ham sandwich, who doesn't? And I was thinking, well, why don't I just make this myself? And when you think back to like your grandparents and stuff, they'd have weird things in the kitchen that you just wouldn't see these days. We even had an old slicer machine, so you could make big joints and just cut them into nice thin slices. You're like, well, you're making sandwich ham there. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't we do that now? I think that's just, it's convenience, and it's always convenience. But then when you really look at it and you look at the prices, especially with the way interest rates are flying up and no one's got any money to do these sorts of things, you can make this cheap. You can do this yourself and have something that is so much better quality and costs you less than buying loads of little sandwich ham kind of packets. And when you think down to the idea of what's your ham's going to cost you, like a really good one in a supermarket, it's probably going to cost you £2.50 for what's going to amount to about 1 centimetre. And if you're thinking something like that, which is 1.5 kilos, I know that when I cook this, it's going to reduce, but it's definitely not going to reduce to the size of, 3 packs. So you're definitely going to save some money and you get to have such a great play with it. And I love doing this. So I want to run you through just how to make the ham and some little ideas on what you can kind of do to, experiment with it, have a great time, put some of your own fun and flavours in it. And the best thing about that is that you can do it different every single time. And by doing that, you're going to love it more. So we're going to get cracking. Like I say, this is so simple. This is a recipe, but it's kind of more of an idea. So what you're going to need is a ham. Now I've gone for smoked ham just because I love it. So much deeper in flavour. And all we're going to do is just kind of score the fat, mostly because that way once it's cooked and you get it out, if you've got these nice little tiny crisscrosses all over it, it won't kind of constrict itself as much, and you'll also find it much easier to carve through and much easier to eat. So you don't need to be too brutal with it, just getting through that fat about halfway through. Okay, so that's ready to go. All we're going to do now is create some kind of flavourings to go on the outside. Now obviously this is going to raise the expense of doing your own ham, but you could just put that on to cook right now, and then it would be like any sandwich ham you get out of a supermarket, just plain and a bit boring. But let's have a play. Let's try and do some stuff that's going to make it really, really exciting. So what I'm going to use is apricot jam, basically. And this one is about 2-3 months out of date, but it's got no kind of mould in it. It's all great. So this is a great way of using up stuff that you just got in a cupboard. Cupboard Creations. So for about 1.5 kilos of ham, you're going to want 4 tablespoons of jam. So what we're doing is we've got 4 there. We're just going to pop that in a microwave. Just give it 10-15 seconds, just to kind of melt it down a bit so that it makes it much, much easier to spread. Okay, so there we go. That's out of the microwave now. And it's just kind of thinned it out a little bit. Just that extra heat has made it something that we can really paste. So what we're going to do is add to this is I'm adding some hanout, which is an amazing kind of mix of spices from North Africa. Absolutely fabulous stuff. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of this. So you want a fair bit because you want that flavour. And that's the thing. That's all we're going to add to this. So if you just keep that in mind, so 4 tablespoons of some kind of whatever you fancy, sticky, you know, lovely, delicious kind of jam, or even a chutney or some honey, and then 2 teaspoons of spice of whatever you like. Mix it together. You'll get a really great covering and coating for that ham that will stick to it and will just create a lovely almost crust on the outside. Beautiful stuff. So there we go. That is my coating. That's really darkened down now. That cinnamon that you get in this stuff has really come to the top. That's going to work beautifully. So all we do now is paste that over the top of our ham. Ah, there we go. Fantastic. He's just, the smells are already there and I haven't even started cooking it yet. So we're going to cover that just with a bit of foil. So we kind of want it to steam a little bit at the start, and that will just help keep it moist. So pop a bit of foil. So we're going to put that in the oven for in total an hour and a half, but for the first hour covered. Second half, we'll take off the covering, baste it with all of the juices that will be at the bottom, and then kind of let it crisp up and get that beautiful crust with all those flavours on. So I'll pop that in the oven and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so while that's in the oven, just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone that subscribed to the channel. It's really cool. And if you're liking the videos and you haven't yet, think about dropping it a subscribe or a like. Really would just help me and basically all people on YouTube just get out to more people and get to see it. I had a wonderful comment from someone the other day who just accidentally found the video, but it was exactly what they were looking for. And to get out to more people, we just need to collect those likes and subscribes. So if you could think about doing it, it would really help me out. So thanks very much. Okay, so we're an hour in now. Let's have a look. Oh, it smells absolutely wonderful. Really kind of spicy and fruity and oh, lovely. So we can pop these off. Oh, that is looking really good. So yeah, it's all kind of caramelized at the bottom, and obviously now we're just gonna give it a good baste with all that deliciousness. There we go, fantastic. So it's all kind of like, it's there, but it's not yet kind of stuck to that ham. So what we're gonna do now, leave the foil off and pop it back in the oven for another half an hour. And the good thing to do with this is everyone's ham's gonna be a different size, etc. But if you're making it yourself and you've just bought a gammon like this down at the local supermarket, it's gonna have written on it how long to cook it for. I always go slightly under, because I want to keep it nice and juicy, but you can just follow the instructions. Off, all you need to do, just keep basting that over. Now give it half an hour, should be done. Okay, so there it is, all out of the oven, rested for a while, just to cool it down slightly, because we're not eating this one hot. And there you have it, an absolutely lovely home-baked ham. And the flavour is so intense and so much more than you can kind of get from any kind of packet stuff from a supermarket. So all that's left to do now is slice it up. Just want to try and get nice thin slices, cut right through. So there it is. There's my ham. And I promise you there was a reason why I was doing this. You know, there's a reason I was like, why aren't I doing this more often? And that is one, flavour. You know, doing it like that, it's still moist, it's got bags of flavour, really lovely thing to do. 2 is the cost. you know, once I've measured that out, so we started with 1.4 kilo gammon. Obviously when you cook it, you're losing some of that water. So I've reweighed it, 1.2 kilos. Now once I've done the maths, went down to my local supermarket, I jotted down how much some of those hams were. When you look at the price of a normal ham, you're talking packet of like the deli ham, which is where I would put this. You know, flavour wise, I would absolutely put this there. And that's working out at around about 167p per 100 grams. Now, when you calculate this, you're working at 112p. And when I say 112, I've gone to extremes with this one. So before giving up work and doing this as kind of a bit of a hobby, I spent my life being an analyst, you know, maths was my thing. So I've not just taken the weight of this, I've calculated how much energy I've used, and that is a beast of an oven. So that is really using it. So I've taken the initial price, added on the energy used, you know, took a camera shot of what the energy was before, what it was after, calculated how many kilowatt hours were used, however much it was on a variable rate, which I'm on, and you're talking the end result is 112p per 100 grams. And that is incredible. Now you can get stuff cheaper than that. If you get the absolute bog standard reformed sliced ham from my local supermarket, that's price matched to, you know, pretty much all of the kind of cheaper ones, works out at 72p. So that is cheaper. I'm not going to lie to you. That is way, way cheaper. It's about, what does it work out? About 56% difference. You think I'm doing these numbers in my head, don't you? I'm not. I have sat there for a while with an Excel spreadsheet just plotting all this stuff out. But even if you take a standard ham, so just the supermarket's own bog standard ham, which I am definitely adamant this is so much more tastier than, that is still a third more expensive than doing it this way. So it's worth the effort. It's great fun, and you can really, really play with it. And what an end result. So there we go. For those reasons, I'm not going down the supermarket and buying the packaged ham anymore. I'm always going to be making my own, using all those flavours. And if you use those proportions of 4 tablespoons of something lovely, 2 teaspoons of some spice, you're going to get a beautiful crust which just flavours that meat so, so well. And I would love to hear what you would put on it. You know, this is just a guide. This isn't about you've got to do it with apricot and ras el hanout. Just use what's in your cupboard. And if you've got something there and you've got some ideas and you think it's really cool, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. You know, if you're planning raspberry jam and cardamom for some bizarre reason, let me know. I would love to hear it. And even if you don't make it, you come up with some ideas, I might make it if it sounds good. So absolutely love this one. And all we got to do now, portion that off, freeze the bits so I can just pull them out whenever I want. And then I've got essentially packets of ham just waiting for me. So I do hope you give this a go. I do hope you enjoy it, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.